And I was telling this to Dan. So the other day I was working out, you know, just kind of getting in and starting to get my try to get some weight off. In walks Dan Henderson with a big old bag of fried chicken.
Sure.
An insane amount of fried chicken. I would have so much fun with that fried chicken if I wasn't trying to make this weight.
Did you go ahead and pass through the rest of the training camp, or did they defer out of respect to
I went outside. I told them get it out of the room because you could smell it. It's like with that stuff, you can it takes over the whole room, you know. So I said get it out of the room, you know, so I can train. And then the guys kept going in the back. They kept going into the bathroom where the chicken was, and they would all come back with this grin that just said they did something wrong. So it's like, these son of a guns are going back there and eating chicken.
You know, it was just a couple of months ago, we saw you take the short notice fight against Pat Cummins, and because of some tension there, I think it was uncharacteristic for you to be, you know, the personal animosity. Obviously nothing like that between you and Dan Henderson. Can you contrast your mindset with those two sets of circumstances or concerns?
Well, it's much better. I like this much better. You know, someone that you respect, someone that you actually like, and someone you look forward to competing against. Patrick Cummins, I wanted to compete against him because I wanted to beat him up. Dan Henderson, I want to compete against him because I respect what he's done in the sport, you know, where his standing in the sport, and also because if I beat him, it's one of those high-quality wins, high-value wins that most people don't ever get in their career. So, yeah, you know, it's a huge difference. I'm more excited about this fight than I was in February.
And last question for you. You know, I happened to see you fight that fight in Dallas, the Strikeforce card against Jeff Monson, which was an alternate. I mean, you weren't even in the heavyweight tournament. You ended up winning the whole thing. And I remember having Jeff Monson on the show and him telling me at the time, he said, this guy, look out. He said, I knew he was a great wrestler. I had no idea he boxed like that. Obviously, at that time, you were a very well-kept secret. That wasn't the long ago. Can you tell me a certain point that you noticed that, you know, people, it wasn't such a well-kept secret?
Well, I mean, it was after the Munson fight. You know, I showed a lot of improvement from the fight I had at the beginning of the year against Devin Cole to the fight I had against Jeff. A few months later, I had improved drastically, and I really don't even know how it happened. I just continued to do what I was doing anyways, meaning working hard in the gym, and then it just seemed to kind of come together on that night. And then a few months later, I ended up knocking out Bigfoot, which was like the true, like almost like, you know, the arrival of sorts to the higher level of mixed martial arts. But you know, I guess it would have been the Munson fight, but I've been doing the same things. You know, I've been working hard in the gym, and for some reason on that night in Dallas, everything just kind of came together.
That was nice. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Were you surprised that Dan said that he thought it would be a distance fight? I mean, I don't look at it that way. Maybe you do. You know better than I do. But were you surprised? 'Cause I always think that he would have to take you out.
That's my thought too. You know, and that's where I believe that I hold the biggest advantage, is that I feel like I can win the fight in a number of ways, whereas I think that for him to win, he has to knock me out. You know, so but obviously he's training hard. He's ready to go 15 minutes if we go 15 minutes. The beauty in being undefeated is that on Saturday night, Dan Henderson has to teach me how to lose a fight. I don't know how to do that yet. And most times when the guy's undefeated, it's much harder to give him that first loss. Once he accepts losing as a part of the sport and as a part of his world, then you see guys start to lose over and over again. But for me, that's not my reality. You know, I'm undefeated now. I love being undefeated. So he's going to have to teach me something that I don't know going into a cage and actually getting beat.
You better hope he's not a good teacher, right?
I hope he's a horrible teacher. I hope he's a terrible teacher.
But what about your style, wrestling style, and his wrestling style? I mean, the two of them. How does that sync up in the octagon?
Well, it's tough. You know, Dan's gonna have a better feel for wrestling than a lot of guys, but I'm more of a I grab the legs. They call us leg grabbers, freestyle guys. You know, I grab the legs. I can wrestle up top too, you know, but my takedowns, I prefer to get on the legs and actually drag them down or run them over. So that's where it differs. You know, I think that I can close the space a little bit easier because of my style of wrestling, whereas for him to take me down, he's going to have to get pretty close.
It seems like since you've dropped down to 205 that you've really put a lot of focus on your speed, your hand speed, your footwork, your head movement. How much do you feel that you're prepared now in that department?
Well, I've worked on it a ton. You know, I was worried about my speed actually being like kind of leveling out, because at heavyweight I was kind of like this in terms of hand speed. And as you lose weight, you know, the guys get faster, but I've done some things that I normally wouldn't do. Like I do a lot of agility and speed things down, strength and conditioning to try and help with my speed. Obviously, just really, I've really focused on that area now. So I think it's catching up to everything else. Am I prepared to fight with the fast guys at 205? Yes. I really do believe so.
You had said that even Patrick Cummins was, in fact, he tested that. He tested that in your first fight, and you felt that. So being that you had that one fight and that experience, do you feel that now you're ready to truly take it on, or do you still need some more time?
No. I mean, I have to be ready. I'm fighting Dan Henderson. It's not time to actually go in there thinking, well, I've got some stuff to learn when you're going in with a guy like Dan. So, no, I'm ready to go. Nothing's going to surprise me anymore. The speed isn't going to surprise me. I'm ready to go. And
I had heard from Luke Rockhold that Dan Henderson, he brought in some of the Popeyes chicken to your training room, and I was curious how that went for you, what you thought of his attempt to sabotage you.
I thought it was pretty cool, I mean, he's a pretty quick-witted guy. He's a lot quicker-witted than I thought. You see Dan, and Dan seems pretty serious. He's a nice guy, he's pretty serious, but he's pretty funny. We were together a lot on Monday in Los Angeles. That's probably the most time we've ever spent together. Then we were, all week kind of running into each other. And he does the Popeyes thing, so I kind of have a new respect for Dan Henderson's humor a little bit. But I didn't eat it. Didn't touch it. Didn't touch his stuff. But the rest of the guys did. They kept going into the bathroom and coming out like with this look on their face. I was like, you guys are eating chicken in there, aren't you? And they were. Look of shame. It's like, we can't all not eat Popeyes chicken.
Well, how is the weight cut going? Where are you at right now?
It's going great. This morning I was 213. So, I mean, I'm 7.5, 8 pounds overweight. And I haven't put my plastics on. I haven't done anything. So, I'm good.
When you look at the last fight that Dan had against Mauricio Shogun Rua, and you compare it to just the sheer power that he has and the ability that he has with that one punch, what do you think about that one punch that everybody knows could be coming from Hendo?
I mean, I think it's honestly the greatest single weapon in MMA. Like, I think his right hand is the most dominant single weapon in mixed martial arts. Ronda Rousey's armbar, I think Dan Henderson's right hand is the most single-handedly most powerful, dominant equalizer in mixed martial arts because he can get it from anywhere. Because of that, I've spent a lot of time and I've focused really hard on making sure he doesn't hit me with his right hand. And the event in the MGM Grand is a big deal.
And we're good on waiting, right? If Gus gets the shot, you're gonna take your time, and
I'm fine to take my time if I win this fight on Saturday. I mean, truly, they should be fighting sometime around September. That's a legitimate time frame for him to recover after his last fight. Jones didn't take much damage. Gustafsson didn't take much damage. Truly, they should be fighting around September, and then that will put me in line for around the beginning of the year.
Nice marquee fight, maybe in the Super Bowl.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Would you take another fight just to keep active, to keep your weight down?
I would much rather not. I would much rather not. I'd probably just wait. Yeah, but it's always like that. I mean, the circumstances will dictate what happens ultimately. Gustafsson wins, I will fight someone else because John Jones rightfully deserves an immediate rematch. That is the right thing to do. So I would fight someone else. But Gustafsson doesn't win, I'm going to stand around and just chill and get better. I got to get better. Still got to get better.